Alright, so obviously I haven't sung anything for you guys in a hot minute. um, Hopefully this is actually recording the right direction and I don't have to flip anything. Anyways, yeah, I haven't sung anything for you guys in a hot minute, and considering I am Carl at the moment, no, I'm not singing You Are My Sunshine. I'm gonna be singing a different song that inspired a fan fiction that I'm working on. Um, and then this is also going to be a promotional thing for that fan fiction because chapter 3 is going to be out like soon. Anyways, yeah, so um I'm going to sing Unsweetened Lemonade by Amelie Farin. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And then I'll kind of like explain the premise of the fan fiction. For anybody else who was like really pissed about Carl dying in the show, I got you. Unless you don't like the saviors. It's okay. You'll see more. Anyways, alright. Kind of wish I was sitting on the stairs actually now because my voice will sound nicer because there are better acoustics there. But it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. It's fine. I need to close something real quick because it's distracting me. There we go. Okay. My eyes are made of acid and my tongue is sharp with spite. A attention whore with too much pride, there's no one I wouldn't fight. I don't like confrontation, but I'm staring at the sun. I won't quit until my eyes go red, I'll finish what's begun. I fucked the reaper cause I knew my time was coming, can't you see? I was either gonna die at 12 or 90 fucking 3. I'd do anything for $20, I'd sell my sour soul. Cause lemonade is bitter till you sweeten up the bowl. I'm sitting in the bathroom, I'm crying citrus tears. Everything I used to love decayed over the years. It's hard to finish sentences, I'll sell my pride instead. Cause it's easier to focus, I'm just the price above my head. People think I'm pretty, so I'll buy a hotel room. One bed trope without the tension, the child and the groom. I fucked the reaper cause I knew my time was coming, can't you see? I didn't die at 12, I guess I'm here till 93. I'd do anything for $20, I'd sell my sour soul. Cause lemonade is bitter till you sweeten up the bowl. I'm sitting in the bathroom and crying citrus tears. Everything I used to love decayed over the years. Enemies to lovers, but you'll never own my heart. One-sided, it's pathetic how you think you're being smart. Worthless parents make stupid kids, the apple never strays. The conscience never compromised, and ego never pays. I'd do anything for $20 to feel more in control. Cause lemon hearts are bitter till you sweeten up the soul. I'm sitting in the bathroom, I'm crying citrus tears. Cause everything I'll ever love decay over the years. Yay, okay. um, I need to like start like putting my own spin on songs more because I like kind of just sing them the way that they are and it's but whatever. Okay. Um so basically this song I heard it and like the chorus in particular, I fucked the reaper because I knew my time was coming, can't you see? I was either gonna die at 12 or 90 fucking 3. I heard that and I was just like, oh my god. Oh my god. Idea time. So, I think that I already kind of had this idea in my head where like this was before I read the comics, by the way, so that like didn't influence me at all. I'm not saying that because this is what happens in the comics. I'm saying this because Carl doesn't die in the comics. So, I hadn't read much of the comics at that point. I still haven't read all of them. I'm working my way through the deluxe edition. Anyways. Okay, back on track. So, basically, I had this idea in my head that, like, what if Carl, instead of, like, running to go join the rest of Alexandria in the tunnels that night, which is, like, what got him bit, because he was, like, going to help someone, um, what if instead he got this idea where, in order to convince his dad to, like, um, find peace with Negan and the Saviors, what he did was he realized the only way that his dad is ever gonna, like, see that is if somebody from the community points it out to him, like, and actually has evidence. So Carl basically goes and leaves with Negan. He doesn't anticipate the fact that he's joining the Saviors here. He's just kind of like, okay, I'll go with them. I'll, like, work something out with Negan, and, like, we can end this war peacefully, and he can get that future that he always imagined with, like, his whole family together, and, like, Negan's there, and, like, y'all know what I'm talking about. If you know Walking Dead, you know what I'm talking about. Like, Carl's vision for the future, like, he thought that this was the only way he was going to be able to make that happen, because it had to be somebody from Alexandria, somebody that his dad was close to, that his dad would actually probably listen to. They would need to stick up for the Saviors, and they'd need to, like, point out the fact that, like, maybe these guys aren't the villains. And so Carl decided that he was going to be the person to do that. So the night when the Saviors show up to burn Alexandria, while he's, like, up on the wall and, like, everybody's getting to safety, while he's, like, stalling for them to get to safety, because he obviously still wants that to happen, he's explaining this idea he has to Negan, where he's saying, I'll come with you willingly, but in return, I want to come with you I want to come with you back to the sanctuary, to try and help negotiate a peace, because I don't want any more blood to be shed, and I don't think it's fair. Like, just, I don't know. He gives this whole spiel to Negan. That part isn't actually included in my fic. I kind of, like, I started just after he gave his whole spiel and everything. Um, and Negan's not really buying it. I'm gonna be honest here, like, and he does tell Carl this later on. He's like, he doesn't think that this will work. He does not think that, like, if Rick isn't listening to Carl in Alexandria, Rick isn't going to listen to Carl after he runs away and joins the Saviors. I can't comment on whether that assumption is correct or not, because that chapter isn't out yet. But that's, like, Negan isn't buying this, but he's like, you know what? It's a chance. It's going to stop my people from dying. I'm willing to give it a shot. If the kid really wants to do it, let's do it. So, I did include, like, a little bit too, where Negan actually saves Carl. So as Carl, like, gets down off the wall, he, like, runs over to the gate, obviously, to, like, get that open so he can leave and, like, get out. And so he does that, but then, like, as he's opening the gate, he doesn't realize that, like, a few walkers have already breached in other places, so he doesn't realize that, like, a few walkers have, like, come up behind him, and he gets, like, pulled off the gate. It was, like, open just enough that, like, as he's, like, dealing with a couple of them, one is about to bite him, and then Negan comes, saves him, and I, like, intentionally kind of worded it so that, like, because this is where the fic starts. I intentionally kind of worded it. Let me go back up to, let me look at it. Let me pull this up real quick, actually, so that I'm not, like, feeding you false information here. That's 17 pages. That's crazy. Yeah, okay. I intentionally worded this so that you can't tell if it's Carl or a walker who gets hit. You don't know. And, like, because this isn't happening in the show, like, there isn't that, like, suspenseful moment, really, because it, like, like, anyways, obviously it doesn't have the same effect as this moment would have in the show, but the problem is, as I'm writing, I can picture everything happening in my head as if it was happening in the show. And that moment, oh my god, the execution. It would be so good. It would be so good. But it's just kind of, I feel like it doesn't have the same effect in writing, which that's a failure on my part. Um, you should be able to picture the same thing that I'm picturing in my head when you read my writing. I am willing to admit that, like, it's my fault that that's not happening. But anyways, so Carl ends up going back to the sanctuary with Negan, and obviously Rick comes back to Alexandria, finds everybody in the tunnels, whatever, and then he realizes, hey, wait a damn minute, where is my son? And so obviously, like, everybody knew, like, Carl was up on the wall, like, stalling so that they could all get to safety. So Rick hears this, and his immediate first thought is that Negan must have taken Carl. So Carl gets, like, I'd say about half a day of, like, peace at the sanctuary where Negan's, like, giving him a proper tour this time, like, actually, like, I think Negan actually pawns him off on Laura, and she kind of, like, introduces him to the inner workings of the sanctuary, which, oh, I love it, guys, I love all of this so much, but so Carl gets, like, a proper tour of the sanctuary. He gets to learn a little bit about the history, of the Saviors, and he really gets to see another side to this group that nobody else in Alexandria has seen. Because everybody else just sees them as, like, these thugs, these monsters. Even though Rick shot first. Just putting that out there, you know. Everybody sees them as these monsters. But Carl's now getting to see the other side of it. He's getting to, like, really understand who the Saviors are and who they're supposed to be. Because what Alexandria sees isn't, like... Alexandria has an extreme negative bias against the Saviors, obviously. Negan killed Glenn and Abraham. This is not the video for me to get into that. But trust me, that is something else that I want to talk about so bad. Anyways, back to the fic. So, Carl, yeah, he's, like, getting a tour. He's getting to, like, learn about the history, how everything works, and he's kind of, like, and he gets, like, introduced to the lieutenants and everything. And then as Negan is, like, in the middle of this meeting with the lieutenants, and Carl is there as well, there's, like, this meeting he wanted to have happen, and he's kind of rushing through it because he knows, it's mentioned earlier on that, like, Rick was on the radio first thing this morning being like, where the fuck is my child? And Negan told him, you know, he came to me. He willingly came with me. Okay, so calm the fuck down, first of all. But he's here, he's at the sanctuary. Haven't touched him. He's safe. But, you know, Rick being Rick, he doesn't care. He assumes that Negan's lying, and so Negan already knows, like, okay, he's gonna show up here. We need to be ready because he's probably not stupid enough to come alone, even though he does end up being stupid enough to come alone. I know I'm spoiling for you guys. No. Okay. Oh, no, never mind. That is mentioned in chapter 2. So Rick does show up alone. There's, like, an asterisk there, but you don't know. You don't know yet. You don't know. You don't. It's coming out in the next chapter. So chapter 2 ends like right as Rick shows up, basically. So Negan's in the middle of this meeting, and he gets somebody like calls him on his radio, like, "Hey, Rick is here. He's alone. He is armed, but like, there's more of us than there are of him. Like, he's not a threat." And so Negan, Carl, and Simon go out to go greet Rick, and so they were like discussing strategy, so it was super rushed. There hasn't been a ton of organization other than like Negan was obviously working with Simon all morning before he went and got Carl. So Simon's got his people like on lock. The others are kind of like scrambling in the background. You don't see this part in the fic, but the others are like scrambling in the background to like get their people together, you know, in case shit ends up going down. Um, but yeah, so the next chapter that comes out is actually going to be the big confrontation scene where Carl is going to try and convince his dad to like stand down, and he's going to try and broker a peace between the Saviors and the Alexandrians slash Hilltop and the Kingdom, and like, you know, the communities. He's going to try and broker a peace here. And that part was actually giving me so much trouble, like writing it. I couldn't quite. I knew what I wanted. I have I have pages of notes about exactly what I wanted for this chapter, all the way from the confrontation of Rick to at the very end of this chapter. I've already like teased this. This isn't news to anybody, so it's not technically a spoiler. At the end of this chapter, we're actually getting to hear Negan's wife's perspective. Um, so we get let in on the things that they talk about when Negan's not around. We get to see some of that, and personally, I think that that's like a fun little thing. Again, I'm picturing all of this like with the show happening in my head. I'm picturing like, so unfortunately, like it's not all written for the page. A lot of it is like, this writing should be a show. What I am writing should be, but that's also coming from the fact that it's a fix-it fic. But anyways, that's a whole lot of rambling. I haven't even explained how the song like plays into this. So the fic is titled Unsweetened Lemonade, and it is named after the song. And so in particular, it's the first pre-chorus. Well, actually, I think it's basically all of this song, other than like some choice parts. Like all of them just like fit so well with this AU that I was already kind of creating, that it just like really helped it to take shape and gave me the inspiration and then the motivation to actually write the fic. So, um, yeah. So the whole thing, like the the chorus, um, that immediately hit me. Like the I was either gonna die at 12 or 90 fucking 3 part. That like that is what started all of this. Because I mean in the comics, um the time that Carl would have died in the comics, if it had the same timeline as not the same timeline technically. Carl was younger in the comics than he was in the show. So the point at which Carl dies in the show, he was only 12 in the comics. Um and I had been like reading and rereading issues 103 to 108. For those who don't know, those correspond to season 7, episode 7 and 8, which is Sing Me a Song and Heart Still Beating. I think the second one is Heart Still Beating. Maybe. Yes, yes, it is. And those are the episodes where Carl like sneaks into the sanctuary, and stuff. And so I have the comic issues for that because those are two of my favorite episodes. I've got four favorite episodes. Those are two of them. um, and so I was like reading and rereading these comics, and so that line like hit me immediately, and started all of this. Um, and then like the I fucked the Reaper part. It should not be a surprise that I ship Keegan, okay? Let's just like get that one out in the air. Unless it wasn't unless it was like, I don't know. It should have been obvious, I think, from like all of this that's going on. I heard that part as well and I was like, okay. Okay, I can work with that. um I haven't gotten there yet in the fic. There's still like a bit of rapport building happening. Carl was very hostile, of course, like in the beginning. He was like, even though he chose to come with Negan, like he didn't want to be there, and he was making that very clear. Like he thought that he was going home after all of this happened, which he gets told is not the case. Um he essentially gets told that even if peace is reached with Alexandria, I need to keep you here to guarantee that that stays. Because Rick won't try anything if I can execute you. That's essentially what gets said. And, um, and yeah. So Carl wasn't too happy about that, but he does start to warm up to Negan. There's a super heartwarming moment in chapter 2 that just like, oh, I love it. I love it so much. um where it's where Carl pitches his idea for like that better future to Negan. Um let me see if I can find it in here. I know that I sent screenshots of it to somebody actually. Let me just scroll up in here. Okay. Oh no, okay, so the part where he pitches his idea for the better future is also good, but this is even better actually. Um Carl apologizes to Negan. Um Sorry, I'm just rereading this for myself here. Yeah, he apologizes for everything that Alexandria has done essentially. And then Negan actually cuts him off because he's just like, no, you don't get to apologize for something that is out of your control. Okay? Honestly, I'm just gonna read what actually gets said here because oh my god. Okay, so Carl is here. He's just like, no, I knew it. I just didn't want to accept that I did, and I'm sorry. Everything that's happened and how I was acting. But then Negan like puts a hand on his shoulder, and he says, "Stop for a second and turn around so I can look you in the eye." Because they were currently walking down the stairs, like out to the yard area of the sanctuary. So they were walking down those like stairs on the outside of the building, and Carl was like a few steps below. So Negan like puts his hand on his shoulder and like gets him to turn around, whatever. And then he also like crouches down so that they're on eye level. He says so. You do not have to apologize. You hear me? Especially not for things that were out of your control. I know you haven't really been allowed to just be a kid, but that's what you are. Nothing that's happened has been your fault, so you have nothing to apologize for. And your attitude towards me is completely understandable. I don't know how close you were with, what were their names? And he tells him Glenn and Abraham. I don't know how close you were with Glenn and Abraham, but they were part of your group, which makes them like family, even if the only thing you know about them is their names. I know that. You still have every right to be furious with me, but you aren't letting those emotions control you. Most adults can't even manage that. I had a feeling about you from that very first night. I had a feeling you were going to be something special, and you have just kept showing me more and more since then that I was right. You're doing something the average adult, let alone a kid your age, would never have the balls to do. So, don't you dare apologize to me again unless there's an actual reason to be apologizing. And then they have like this super wholesome hug, and that moment is my Roman Empire, okay? I No, I'm not crying, I swear. I'm not. No, but it's uh yeah, it's right here. Yeah, so just before that is where Carl like says like basically Carl acknowledges that Alexandria forced Negan to do what he did. He said, "We forced your hand. We killed a lot of your men, more than was ever necessary. Sure, the group that Daryl killed was responsible for the confrontation, but it could have ended there. You have a pretty easy to understand system here, and while I'm sure you would still have punished us, you also would have understood that your people were being assholes, and the punishment wouldn't have been near as bad as what we got. All of this could have been avoided if my dad was willing to just talk." Um, and so yeah, and that moment, like Carl acknowledging that is just everything to me. Oh my god, I can't get over it. I can't. I know that I'm the one who wrote it, but I can't get over it. But yeah, where were we? Back to the song, anyways. So yeah, and then I do anything for $20. I'd sell my sour soul because lemonade is bitter till you sweeten up the bowl. I heard lemonade and immediately thought of season 7, episode 8, Heart Still Beating, because that's the second like half of that part where they're back in Alexandria and Negan's waiting for Rick, and he makes some spaghetti. So like obviously that literally just makes me think of the episode. Anytime lemonade is mentioned, I'm thinking of that episode. Anytime spaghetti is mentioned, I am also thinking of that episode. Every time we have spaghetti now, I have to stop myself from laughing when I get my plate because I just look at it and I'm just thinking of that one episode. But anyways, I do anything for $20. It's sell my sour soul. So obviously instead of like doing it for money, like Carl would literally do anything for peace at this point. Like that is what's happening. This is his last attempt at getting peace between Alexandria and the Saviors. And like by joining the Saviors, he kind of is selling his soul in a sense. Because the Saviors are like these big bad evil monsters, so to join them, he's kind of gotta give up some things. It, like theoretically, like he doesn't actually, other than like he has to, well, he does end up cutting ties to Alexandria, but we're not there yet. Anyways. And then honestly the second verse is like the one that I just kind of like brush over. Yeah, but the third verse, enemies to lovers, but you'll never own my heart. One-sided, it's pathetic how you think you're being smart. Worthless parents make stupid kids, the apple never strays, your conscience never compromised, and ego never pays. That part, like, it comes back. It's so good. It's so good for this. Because overall, this is basically just, like, slow burn enemies to lovers. That is, like, this fic was supposed to be moving a lot faster. But, like, in a totally different direction. I was gonna be having the confrontation with Alexandria be a B plot, but I realized as I was writing that couldn't happen. And so the romance part is the B plot. the main thing here is still the conflict between Alexandria and the Saviors. Um, and as long as my motivation keeps up, you guys are actually gonna get to see like a big final battle. I'm gonna say that right now. I have it written into the fic. Like I have a bit of an outline happening. And it'll be a few chapters down the line still, but I have already engineered it into the plot that there is going to be a battle. I'm not going to tell you who wins, but there is a choice that has to be made. There is a very big choice that has to be made by Carl. And it's my fic, so I am so proud of him for what he chooses. I can't give you any more than that, but that is going to be like the next big moment. Honestly, it's going to be even bigger than this. That choice he has to make, I'm going to be doing the same thing again where I cut the chapter off right before, like, I'm going to cut one chapter off right before he has to make that, right before he makes that choice. So you're going to be left off, whatever chapter it is where the, like, actual battle is, like, happening. It's going to get cut off right before, or actually right as Carl fires a gun. I'm gonna say that much. And you won't know until the next chapter who he shoots. It's gonna be like the season 6 finale. Yeah. Because I am that evil. No, I like drama. I like drama, I like suspense, I like my chapters to be left on cliffhangers. And I can't resist this one because it's so, oh, it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. I mean, you guys probably already know now. I've said too much. Damn it, it's fine. You'll have forgotten. But also, like, based on the fic, you'll know. But like, I'm gonna try my absolute hardest to convince you that like there is a genuine struggle going on here, and like you're not gonna know which one he ends up shooting. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so the whole thing it's enemies to lovers. But Carl, he's stubborn. So like he'll refuse all of it, obviously. And then the worthless parents make stupid kids, the apple never strays thing. I feel like that honestly, it kind of starts to come out in this chapter that I'm writing currently. Because Carl is kind of starting to wonder if he made the right choice. There's going to be a lot of internal struggle in this chapter and then in chapter 4 as well, where he's trying to reconcile the path that he chose, like where he's yeah, it's gonna be a little bit heavier. Chapters 3 and 4, they're gonna be a little bit on the heavier side just because he is now trying to figure out his place and everything and if he made the right choice and all of that jazz. So that kind of starts to come out a little bit here. And yeah, I think that basically covers the entire song, other than like a few little bits here and there, but it covers like the main big parts. Yeah. So the story is really awesome. I think that you should all go read it. It's on AO3 and it's on Tumblr. Yeah. And again, it's called Unsweetened Lemonade. What is my AO3 real quick? Let me just double check this. Sorry, I have 99 notifications. I have over 99 notifications, probably from people booping me on Tumblr. Anyways, okay, yeah. So my AO3 is Idle Dreams 87. It's linked on my Tumblr page, which is probably going to be so much easier for you guys to get to. I'm Idle Dreams 4. People without an account can view my thing. Sorry, I'm like really congested for no reason right now. But yeah, people without an account can view my Tumblr. So Idle Dreams 4, it has literally everything linked to it. My Etsy, my Twitter, my Instagram, Snap, Discord, YouTube, AO3, all of it is there. So yeah, go add me on Tumblr, and also go read my fic. I'm pretty sure on Tumblr I also tagged it as Unsweetened Lemonade, so you can either look for Unsweetened Lemonade, you can look for Keegan, whatever, like on my page, and that'll probably just like be easier for you to find it. Let me just double check that I tagged it. I mean, you can also just search for Unsweetened Lemonade without it being a tag, and you'll have to scroll down a little bit because I post like a bunch of updates about it and stuff. You can also find it by going through my archive. The last chapter is posted in September, so they were both posted in September. So you can find them through the archive. They're like thoroughly tagged. So, okay, they're not tagged as Unsweetened Lemonade. I don't know how that ended up as a tag on my thing. I was using that for the fic updates, I think. Weird I didn't put the title of the fic in the tags, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, point is, go find it on Tumblr, find it on AO3, I don't really care, just go find it, read it, let me know what you think, and stay tuned for the next chapter. Okay, bye guys! I completely just failed hitting the stop button. I hate recording on my phone.